All right, I think we should get started, everyone. So, first of all, in the name of AIMA, thank you all for joining in for today's AIMA lecture. And most importantly, happy World Bee Day to everyone. This is our first lecture of this year. We started the AIMA lectures on the occasion of the World Days last year, and we thought it was a great success. So we're happy to host for the second time in a row this lecture on World Bee Day. And I couldn't think of someone more competent for this kind of lecture than Barbara Sosic, my dear colleague from the AIMA EC that will be our moderator for today too. And I also like to welcome all of our speakers, members, and also guests that joined in and followed our public invitation. As you all have been notified, this lecture will be recorded because we want to share this afterwards through our website. Um, and I also want to let you know that we will run all of the presentations after one each other and then have a joint discussion round at the end. As I am the one responsible for sharing my screen and running the presentations, while doing so, I cannot control so easily if someone turns on or off the microphone. So I would kindly ask everyone to stay muted during the ongoing presentations. You can either pose your questions in the chat for the discussion later once you have them, and we'll review them throughout the lecture, or you can raise your hand in the discussion round afterwards, and then we can talk about your question. Okay, I think that's all for technical introduction. I hand over to you, Barbara.
Yes, thank you, Klaus. So my name is Barbara Sosic, and I curate the beekeeping collection at the Slovenian Ethnographic Museum in Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia. So happy bee day to all who cherish bees and the rich cultural heritage of beekeeping. World Bee Day is an international event that highlights the crucial role of bees and other pollinators in sustaining our planet's health and biodiversity. So the day was initiated by the Slovenian Beekeepers Association and has been celebrated annually since 2018. So today we honor the birth anniversary of Anton Janša, an 80th century Slovenian beekeeper. His pioneering work laid the foundation for modern beekeeping. And why in May? It's very convenient because May, the northern hemisphere bursts with life. The southern hemisphere enjoys the benefits of bees pollination services, reflecting the resilience and bounty of nature. So World Bee Day reminds us of the vital relationship between humans and pollinators, and it offers a platform for governments, organizations like ours, and individuals to reflect on our past, and also inspired by our ancestors, build connections for the future. I warmly welcome everyone, but especially our speakers for today. This is Anupama presenting on beekeeping in India, then Luseget discussing beekeeping in Ethiopia and Africa, and Željka from Croatia sharing insights on Croatian beekeeping. So to start, I prepared a brief overview of the world cultural heritage of beekeeping and the current situation in the field.
Throughout history, the story of humans and the honeybee have been intertwined. Long sought after their honey, honeybees have been depicted in ancient cultures and modern religions as a symbol of fertility, industriousness, and cooperation. From prehistoric cave drawings depicting honey gatherers in southern Africa, Asia, Australia, and Europe, to modern agriculture heavily relying on honeybee for their crop pollination services, the honeybee has played a key role in the development of human traditions, agriculture, and society. Early humans engaged in honey hunting as early as the Stone Age. This involved randomly stealing honey from wild honeybee nests, even though it was dangerous and very difficult. This practice predates the establishment of true beekeeping and was widespread across different ancient cultures. True beekeeping began when humans started to provide cavities or hives for bees to build their comb. This transition marked a significant step from merely hunting honey to managing and maintaining bee colonies. By 2500 BC, the Egyptians had developed sophisticated methods of apiculture. They created hives and managed bee colonies effectively, reflecting an advanced understanding of bee behavior and hive construction. The ancient Egyptians used clay cylinders as hives, and honey was a valuable commodity in their society used for food, medicine, and religious rituals. Within 2 millennia, beekeeping practices spread throughout the Mediterranean region. In antique Greece and Rome, beekeeping was a respected occupation, and the supposed origin of bees was a highly honored one. During the Middle Ages, beekeeping continued to be an important practice, and honey and wax became crucial commodities for trade. Monasteries were often centers of beekeeping activity, as honey was a valuable sweetener and used for medicinal purposes. Wax was essential for making candles, which were vital for religious and everyday use. Beekeeping practices flourished with the use of various types of hives, including scab, log, box, and tree hives. Beekeeping in Asian countries has a long history too. For example, from Iran or Turkey are dating back to at least 6,000 years. Various bee species like Apis cerana and Apis dorsata, we'll hear more about that from Anupama, have been traditionally managed in different regions. Also, hive types such as cylindrical ones or wooden ones in Turkey or Iran were very common. Honey had cultural and culinary significance across Asia, including China, India. In Mesoamerica, beekeeping evolved independently with the stingless bee species Melipona becci. Archaeological finds and written accounts that survived the Spanish conquest document this unique form of beekeeping. The methods and practices used by indigenous peoples like Maya highlight the diversity of beekeeping traditions globally. Beekeeping in Africa has a long history, going back thousands of years to ancient Egypt. But beekeeping has been practiced across various regions of sub-Saharan Africa for centuries too, with indigenous bee species being managed using traditional methods. In many African societies, honey was not only a valuable food source, but also used in traditional medicine and rituals. Also, for Europe, we can see that beekeeping has been practiced since ancient times and was improving its practices throughout the centuries. By Renaissance, in the 16th and 17th centuries, beekeeping had become more sophisticated. This period saw a greater understanding of bee behavior and more structured beekeeping methods. In the 18th century, we have one of the most significant figures in European beekeeping history, and this is Anton Janša from Slovenia. He was appointed as the first teacher of beekeeping at the newly founded beekeeping school in Vienna, and his teaching and methods greatly influenced modern beekeeping practices. Janša's birthday, May 20th, which is today, is now celebrated as the World Bee Day. 19th century brought significant advancements in beekeeping. The invention of the movable frame hive by Lorenzo Langstroth in 1852 revolutionized beekeeping by allowing beekeepers to inspect and manage their hives and bees more efficiently. This period also saw the development of the honey extractor and other tools that made beekeeping more productive. Some say honeybees are domesticated, the others say they are not. but in a way we can say that somewhat they are domesticated, as through beekeeping they have been managed by humans for thousands of years. Beekeepers have selected Western honeybees for traits like survival in cold climates, disease resistance, high honey production, or reduced aggressiveness, which is also typical for our Carniolan bee. These selections, coupled with artificial colony relocation, have increased Western honeybees' dependence on beekeepers for survival. Different regions favor traits like cold weather survival, for example in Europe, and resilience to heat, drought, and heavy rain in Africa. What about beekeeping across the continents today? For Europe, they say that beekeeping is state-of-the-art amidst threats and opportunities. European countries have implemented various regulations and standards to support beekeepers and protecting bee populations. Beekeeping is both traditional practice and modern industry. Research continues to advance, focusing on bee health, behavior, and the impact of environmental changes. With increased media attention on bees and beekeeping, there has been a beekeeping renaissance, in particular in urban areas. With the growing market, honey too has emerged as a vital ingredient and healthy sweetener, not just as a natural remedy. We also see an increasing demand for bee products such as pollen, propolis, royal jelly, and apitherapy. But beekeepers face a number of challenges. The effects of climate change are increasingly influencing and affecting honey flows and markets across Europe. Europe's main request is that policymakers reconsider the current agricultural model that does not support bees and other pollinators. Often, non-nectar plants or crops with very short flowering periods are preferred, reducing the foraging areas available for bees. What about the Americas? The Western honeybees were brought to Americas in the early 1600s. These bees thrive in North America's temperate climates, but struggle in the tropical south. However, South and Central America are home to hundreds of species of stingless honey-producing bees called meliponine. Stingless bees are native to continental America, ranging from Mexico to Argentina. Their diversity is remarkable, from flesh-eating bees to acid-defending bees. Each species has unique honey production methods, such as these Guatemalan bees that store honey in small wax pots instead of honeycomb. Unfortunately, recent decades have seen a decline of stingless bee populations due to deforestation, insecticide use, and competition from introduced species. So, American beekeeping faces significant challenges, including high hive mortality rates due to pesticide use, monoculture-related malnutrition, and parasites like varroa mites. Africa offers significant potential for beekeeping due to its natural forests, vast lands, bee-friendly climate, and natural bee populations, leading to high-quality bee products. Many African communities are embracing new beekeeping initiatives, resulting in increased honey and bee wax exports. While other regions face challenges like bee diseases, harsh weather, agrochemical use, and habitat loss, African bee colonies are thriving. The rise of organic bee colonies has maintained the purity of African honey, free from excessive antibiotics and agrochemicals. Governments in Africa recognize the role of bees in poverty eradication, environmental conservation, food security, and rural development. Asia is supposed to be heaven for bees, and beekeeping in Asia benefits from diverse climates, cultures, and ecosystems, providing ample nectar and pollen sources. China leads global honey production, and while several native bee species exist, the Western honeybee is widely used for its productivity. However, Challenges include pesticide use, disease management, quality standards, and habitat loss. And in Oceania, they say they are foraging global connections because beekeepers from Australia, New Zealand, and smaller Pacific islands like Fiji learn from international experts. Oceania produces unique medicinal Manuka honey. While the region has many native pollinating bees, honey is mainly produced with Western honeybees. Many times I've mentioned Western honeybee or Apis mellifera. This bee is today a globally vital species, originally from Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Humans have introduced them worldwide for honey production and pollination. They are now found on every continent except Antarctica, thriving in various climates. While they are crucial for pollination and honey, their spread has endangered native species. Balancing their benefits with native bee protection requires careful conservation efforts like habitat preservation and disease control. The successful transmission of beekeeping skills over generations, together with ongoing learning and use of both traditional knowledge and modern technologies, will effectively address obstacles and optimize the advantages of this ancient yet continually advancing craft, art, science, and agricultural activity.
Thank you, Klaus.
Thank you, Barbara. I will
Ah,
now switch over to the second one, okay?
yeah. I'm very pleased to introduce our next speaker, my friend Anupama, a distinguished paleologist, I hope I pronounced it okay, and paleoecologist at the French Institute of Pondicherry in the southern India. So today she will share her expertise on Indian bee species, exploring their habitats, adaptations, and the significant impact they have on the lives and values of the Indian people.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. This is Anupama, a palynologist and paleoecologist from the French Institute of Pondicherry. And first of all, let me thank AIMA for inviting me to talk at this event, and especially thank Barbara Sosik for coordinating this important webinar, bringing together people from 3 different continents to discuss with each other and also have a discussion with you. I'm glad that the broad topic deals with the rich traditions and vital importance of beekeeping. And what's on the screen is something which comes to our mind whenever we think about beekeeping and the honeybee, especially Apis mellifera. However, Apis mellifera is not native to tropical southern India, and for this reason, I will not be talking about it. Another very good reason is that my co-speakers in this event and Barbara herself are real experts on this topic, and they are going to be speaking on that. So let me go on to the topic of the day, which is the native bees and pollinators of tropical South India. Now, when we think of the rich tradition and vital importance of beekeeping, we can go no further than think, first of all, about the bees which give us an opportunity for this tradition. And in southern India, in tropical southern India, the honeybees, and among the honeybees, just the Apis genus, we have 3 different species, Dorsetta, Serrana, and Floria. We also have a stingless honeybee, and that is Tetragonella iridipenis, and several solitary bees, but I'm going to just show you 2 of them, Serratina and Losiglossum. You have so many other pollinators, several butterflies like the Lampidis shown here, several bugs, and of course ants and flies. And where do all these little creatures nest? Look at the difference from the Floria, which is nesting on a pipe, to the Xylocopa, the carpenter bee, which is nesting on the bamboo, and the Seratina, the so-called stingless, the so-called solitary bee, which is also on an ornamental bamboo. So all of this just tells us that diversity matters, whether it's food, whether it's the habitat, or whether it's the nest. And coming back to the 4 honeybee species, because I'm going to be focusing on honeybees given the occasion. These are the 4 honeybees, and among them, who's the one who's a frequent visitor to the most plants? Not surprisingly, the littlest one, Tetragonula iridipenis, was the species that visited the most plants, at least in our survey done a couple of years back. But there are not just 4, because in 2018, a study which looked into genetics as well has found authoritatively now that what was considered as Apis cerana all this while is actually Apis indica, Apis cerana, and Apis carinjodian, the Indian black honeybee. And this brings the number of honeybee species in the world to a total of 11. Going to the nests and habitats of the South Indian honeybees, we could do best to start with the biggest one of them all, and that is none other than Apis dorsata, the Malaiteni or the rock bee. And just look at the places and look at the way in which this hive is built, including in an urban situation at the top of a huge water tank. This is a very common feature all over the South Indian landscape, that you see hives like this which are built on either skyscrapers or on water tanks like this. But the native habitat of this rock bee, which is correctly known as the rock bee, is the cliff face and the high rocks. And people, the native tribal people who live on those hills, have always been interacting with these bees and collecting their honey, mostly in small quantities and mostly very seasonally for their own use and for the use of their family, and definitely not to line supermarket shelves all over the world, which is what some NGOs have started doing nowadays, sadly for the bees and sadly for the hill people. And then we have Apis florea, Kombuteni, and Kombuteni actually means, literally in Tamil, it means that this bee would be found on a branch or at the edge of a stick in a plant. And this is literally what you see in most occasions. But with changing habitats, we have also found recently that it has made a nest on a pipe, and this is a close-up of that, and on a wall. More on this a little bit later. Apis cerana. Now, Apis cerana is the one which is closest to Apis mellifera, in that it's a cavity nesting bee and it can be boxed. And this is the one which has actually been boxed. Even traditionally, people have taken it and kept it, not in the scientifically developed boxes, which are now very popular all over the world, but people have managed to put them in boxes or pots or other cavities. And look at all the different natural cavities that cerana actually manages to get into, and it will stay there and do well as long as there's food and water and everything which it needs. So they go in boxes, they go in pots, and they can also go in the specially designed clay pot hive, which can be a real blessing in this hot and humid climate of southern India for these bees. So cerana with the hexagonal shaped honeycomb and regular places for storing the honey, pollen, and brood. So now we are going to leave Serrana and go to the last but not the least, little stingless bee, Tetragonula iridipenis, and you will see how the nest making is so very different in Tetragonula iridipenis. So Tetragonula iridipenis, the Kosuteni, can go in a box, it can go in a pot, it can also go inside a bamboo, but then it only makes honey, brood and pollen pots, honey pots, pollen pots and brood pots. And in the bamboo too, it does the same thing, and it organizes the space according to what is available. So it really likes small pipes and such places, and that's a very favorite nesting place for this particular honeybee. So you have some more views of that, and interestingly, this switch box seems to be a very nice place for the Tetragonula to get into and put in all its honey, pollen and brood pots. Not only that, it also likes old buildings where again you have pipes jutting out like this, and you have the Tetragonula iridipenis really buzzing around and having fun. Adaptations. Now the first adaptation that we actually recorded once we started beekeeping in the garden of the French Institute was to find out that a few months later, this particular bee, the Xylocopa latipus, the carpenter bee, which has made this nice carpentry on this bamboo, has nicely settled down among the bee boxes. So this was something surprising, and we are exploring a little bit more on this. But in urban situations, there are other places also for the stingless bee and other unexpected places. So just watch this video and you will see the bees going in and out, and they are going to be going out and coming back with pollen loads, some yellow and orange pollen loads, which you will not miss. And you might be wondering, why on earth is this bee actually nesting in this place, which is actually close to a highway? It's a really urban area, and what is there? But then just have a look at the background and you know why they are there. But the telephone department, as telephone departments normally do, had to move it, and luckily my student Lazar offered a box to these bees, which they readily accepted, and so this was a good thing, and so the bees are now well settled in that box. But this doesn't always happen. Why do I say that? You just have to wait.
So here are the tiny stingless bees. They're buzzing around this Asclepias, I think this plant is called. Try and get closer. Okay, they've flown away. Now these are nesting in this little tube, like little black tube. You can see some of them flying in and out. See there, one flew in there. I noticed this quite a few years ago, maybe some 5 odd years ago, and that's where they've been nesting. A couple of years back, I put up this little insect hotel for them. I just got a bunch of bamboo straws and wired them up and stuck them up there, hoping that they would use that, but they don't seem to be using that. They like this tube. And this is where the bee fight took place last week.
This is the Apis florea hive found by Mr. Selvakumar last year in April, and it's very similar to the hive that we had found on the water tank where it's built on a flat surface.
இந்த தேனீக்கள் கொம்பு தேனீக்கள் வகையை சேர்ந்தவை. கொம்பு தேனீக்கள்னா கொம்புல தான் கட்டுன்னு நம்ம பார்த்துருப்போம். ஆனால் சவத்துலேயும் கட்டுதுங்கிறது நம்ம வானகத்தில் மட்டும்தான் பார்க்க முடியும். இந்த இடம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மேலே வச்சுருக்கிறது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தேன் வச்சுருக்கு. இங்கே பாருங்கள், இது தேன் சேகரிக்கக்கூடிய பகுதி. இது கீழ்ப்பகுதிகளில் அடுத்த தலைமுறையை வச்சுக்கோம். அப்போ இந்த தேனீக்கள் ரொம்ப வெகுவாக குறைஞ்சிட்டதுனால இந்த தேனீக்களை நம்ம தேன் எடுத்துக்க கூட வேண்டாம். இந்த இனம் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் இனப்பெருக்கம் ஆகணும்னு அப்படியே விட்டுட்டிங்கன்னா ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். வானகமும் அதுதான் செய்யுது. இந்த தேனீக்களோட அடையாளம் பார்த்திங்கன்னா இந்த தேனீக்களோட பின்பகுதிகளில் 3 வெள்ளை கலர் கோடு இருக்கும்.
Please create a bee habitat that is very diverse so that they can have food that they in the wild and water and the security which will help them to come out of this very stressed situation and live happily.
சம்பவங்கள் இது மாதிரி எக்கச்சக்கமான சம்பவங்கள் எனக்கு நடந்துக்கிட்டே இருக்குது. அப்போ இதுலேருந்து என்னுடைய ஆசை, நான் சொல்ல விஷயம் என்னென்னா, நான் மனசுக்கு உள்ளே என்ன நினைக்கிறேனோ, அதாவது நான் இல்லை, மனிதர்கள் மனசுக்குள்ளே என்ன நினைக்கிறாங்களோ அந்த உள்ளுணர்வை தேனீக்கள் ரொம்ப எளிதாக ரொம்ப அழகாக கண்டுபிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரியான வேலைகள் செய்யுது. அப்போது ஒவ்வொரு மனிதர்கள் வீட்டுக்கு போகும்போதும் இங்கே நமக்கு பாதுகாப்பாக இருக்குமா இல்லையா அப்படிங்கிற உள்ளுணர்வோடு தான் தேனீக்கள் வேலை செய்யுது. ஒவ்வொரு மனிதர்களோட அது அவங்களுடைய பாசிட்டிவ் தாட்ஸ் முதற்கொண்டு எல்லாமே ஃபுல்லாக அப்சர்வ் பண்ணிட்டு தான் ஹனிபீஸ் போயிட்டு அந்த வீட்டுக்கு அது ட்ராவல் பண்ணது, இடம் மாற்றி போய்க்குதுன்றதை நான் ஆணித்தரமாக நம்புகிறேன். நன்றி.
And one from the farmer Raju of Tokupatti village in Karur.
கொம்புத்தேன் பெரிய தேன்கூடு ஒன்று வாழை மரத்தில் கட்டியிருந்தது. அதை நான் நம்மாழ்வார் வானகம் வந்த பின்பு எனக்கு பூச்சிகளை கொல்ல மனமில்லை. அதனால் நான் தேன் பூச்சியை என்ன செய்வதென்று எனக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியவில்லை. செல்வகுமார் ஐயா அவர்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி நான் தேன் கூட்டின் அருகில் போய், நாங்கள் நாளை வயலைக்கு சுத்தம் செய்கிறோம், தீ வைக்கிறோம், நீங்கள் இந்த இடத்தை விட்டு காலி செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று நான் 1-2 முறை கூறிவிட்டு வயலை கொஞ்சம் சுத்தம் செய்துவிட்டு வந்துவிட்டேன். மறுநாள் நானும் எனது அப்பாவும் வயலை சுத்தம் செய்ய வயலுக்கு போனோம். அங்கு கொம்புத்தேன் இருந்த இடத்தில் எந்த ஒரு பூச்சிகளும் இல்லை, வெறும் மெழுகு ஆடைதான் இருந்தது.
And now I can do no better than end by saying that what is required is training programs like this to create awareness and also to tell people how to make eco-friendly, cost-efficient cut clay pot hives, especially in this hot, humid areas. A dose of diversity again, of the flowers, of the bees themselves, and of the people-bee interactions. And before I wind up, I would like to just introduce you very briefly to our Palynology and Paleoecology lab. So these collections are quite well known because they are one of the largest in the world, and we use this to take out the pollen which is stored in the hives, and also those collected by the bees without actually disturbing the bees much more than robbing them of a little, as you see Lazar doing over there. We get results, and our results are being recently published also as a popular bilingual book. thank you very much for listening, and thank you to the many people who contributed to this presentation by sending me videos, messages, and also with constant interaction and opinions. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupama, for this great presentation. Maybe we'll have some questions about your what you presented. But now let's go forward. I warmly welcome Mr. Luzget Belayun. He's a beekeeping manager at the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He has many missions. One is multidisciplinary research, then community participation and policy advocacy. He also promotes sustainable beekeeping and highlights bees' contribution to ecosystems health and human well-being in Ethiopia and beyond. Today, he will share his knowledge and experiences in this important sector. So, Lulsaget, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mering. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Barbara, inviting me for this important session. Thank you everyone for coming to listen this one. My name is Lulsagar Belayun. I'm working in ICIP, and as Barbara mentioned, I'm apiculture manager on this beekeeping center. So now I'm introducing Ethiopia and Africa beekeeping activities. I'm not going to detail in the science, but just to go through for the beekeeping activity in Ethiopia. We have Ethiopia have the ancient history to working on beekeeping, and we have a long practice and working on this beekeeping. And we are also, it's a non-farming activity of the rural households. Mostly the community working directly and indirectly contribute to the income household and the economically of the the nation. This is the beekeeping activity in the country. So can you go to the next slide? Yeah, just the outline. It is. I'm telling you now the beekeeping activity in Ethiopia and the current status of beekeeping sector in Ethiopia, and I want to introduce what is ICIP and what is contribution for the beekeeping sector in the country and in Africa at all. So history of beekeeping in Ethiopia. Next slide. So beekeeping is an old practice in the world, and it was found as the primary immersion of the early human beings. When apiculture is promising non-farm activity for the rural households. I think directly or indirectly the community contribute for the incomes, the household and economic benefit for this nation. Beekeeping. What is the fact of beekeeping about in Ethiopia? The fact, in Ethiopia, we have a long tradition beekeeping practice in Ethiopia. Next slide. Yeah, we have a long practice in Ethiopia. Next. Yeah. Long tradition beekeeping practice in Ethiopia, that is in the country, and we have very suitable natural environment and climatic condition for the beekeeping, and we have also endowed more than 800 bee forage species. It's unique for Ethiopia, and beekeeping is an integral business, and the community, the rural community also, rural and urban community also working on this activity. And we have also more than 10 million honeybee colonies. And more than 2 million people also engaged on this beekeeping sector. So this is next slide. Yeah, as we all know, we have more than 20,000 bee species in the world, but in our country, Ethiopia, we have 5 species only found still. The one is Apis mellifera gemantica. This species is mostly found in the northwest and eastern arid and semi-arid lowland areas. And Apis mellifera sculata is another species of, found in our countries. And this one also in the western south part of Ethiopia and the southwest part of Ethiopia also found it. And the third one, Apis mellifera bandasi. By the way, all the bees are Apis mellifera, but the size also very small. It's not like to the European bees. They are very small sizes. So Apis mellifera bandasi also is a central, most highland areas are found. And the next slide. Yeah, Apis mellifera montalica is another species of the found in our country that is mostly found in the northern mountain of highland area, in the northern part of Ethiopia. And Apis mellifera wayugambella, it is a western part of Ethiopia and found is also by Amsalu Eti. So he found this wayugambella species. Next slide. This is a map. This is a map of the Ethiopian Apis mellifera species found. That location only for this one. And the next slide. Yeah, honeybee in Ethiopia, it has a long history, and we have also more than 10 million bee colonies in the country. And we have, we are doing for three practice in Ethiopia. One is a traditional one practice, traditional management, and the second one we are using for transitional hive, and the third one also using for a modern hive. This is a traditional beekeeping in the country. Most of the people are using for this practice because the hive is hanging on the long trees, and even it's not available for child and women cannot working on this beekeeping mostly because they put it in the long hives. So next slide. The traditional beekeeping in the country, we have 92% of the beeswax came from the traditional beekeeping. Next slide. Okay. Yeah. Almost 90% of the beekeepers are using on this tradition. And 64% of the honey, the total honey harvested from this hive. And almost 85% of the bee colonies are colonized on this hives. So this is really, it has a long history of the beekeeping, but we will improve this beekeeping tradition, and we are continuing to, trying to adopt a Kenya top bar or a transitional hive. That's also working for the next slide. That's also working for the smallholder groups. this beekeeping practice are a little bit improved from the traditional one, and they are managing for as a backyard, and they are managing also very manageable sizes. And it is around 20 to 30 kg of honey harvested on this hive, and 6 to 8% of the total honey and beeswax came from these hives in the country. To improving this hive, especially controlling for deforestations, the Ethiopian Bee Research Center introducing the Chafak hive. That means it is very easily available in the community, and it is making for the sticks. Very sticks and by sticks and by mud. Look at for the second pictures. Proceed. Yeah, the first picture is Langstroth. Top of our hive. This made by completely the timber hive. But to improve, to control the deforestation, the second picture, that the same size, the same specification, but the material is different because it is the stick materials and easily available for the farmers' village. So they are using for adopting for this hive, and even they produce the same amount of honey on the timber one. So this is a good experience in our country because most of the beekeeper are making easily this one, and they can use it. Replacing for the traditional hive. Next slide. The third practice in our country is Langstroth. We are adopting since 1969 or something around. This is we are adopting this technology, and we are specifically ICIP contributing a lot on this. Disseminating this technology to the community. Currently, the production of this hive in the country registered 30 to 45 kg in average, but in some area 60 to 80 kg per harvest. They are harvesting up to 60 to 80 kg because of the potential. So the modern technology we are following for the Langstroth hive, and we modifying a little bit for these hives, and we call it in the Zander. So sometimes people are calling for a German hive also, but it's the same. It is the same. The only modify on the base. The Langstroth is you can open it easily. You can even separate one to each other. This one is it has the base, and the super are continuing for the next after the brood chamber. So this is the practice. Next slide. This is our practice, a curing practice, to introducing the grafting technology to the beekeepers or the farmers. So these beekeepers are now solving the colony shortage problem because of this training. So we are introducing the grafting technology to the beekeepers. Next slide. This picture also a training program, and trainers grafted, and this is what the accepted cells. So colony multiplication, it is the main, the important part of the training. So how is the potential of honey production in Ethiopia, we have a potential, and we can produce 500 tons of honey per year. But are we use this potential? Are we use potential? We said no, because the actual potential of in the country is 53,000 tons of honey. This means almost 10.7% of the total potential. So still we need work aggressively, and we will meet for the the target or the potentials. We have the first producer, honey producer in Africa, and we contribute to 27% of the production, and we have the tens of producer in the world. That means almost 2.7% of the world honey contribute to from Ethiopia. Look, this honeys, this honeys producing from the traditional hive. This is the white honey. It is a unique honey in the country, and it the slide, could you? Yeah. This is white honey. The white honey came from the northern part of Ethiopia, and the secret of this white is it is a type of a forage that is it call it a tabab in the local name. That is a unique honey in the country. It is a creamy honey, white honey. It's never crystallized also. So very creamy, very nice, very tasty honey. So just to show them this honey. How about our beeswax production in the country? We have still the potential to produce 15,000 tons of beeswax. Next slide. Yeah, 15,000 tons of beeswax, but still the actual is 10.6%. The 5,300 tons only produces. Even we have a share to export beeswax in the world, and in Africa also. We are the first in Africa, and we are the fourth in the world to export the beeswax. But still, we are not using our potential because of various things. How about our value chain activity in Ethiopia? So I want to explain a little bit about the value chain of honey value chain in Ethiopia. Next slide. Honey and wax in Ethiopia. The four honey segments trade and export from Ethiopia, and honey and wax export performance and international domestic destination market and proposed of intervention. So this is our value chains in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Ministry of Agricultures are a leading part of the extension service, and NGOs and international organizations also working with smallholder beekeepers. The smallholder beekeepers produce and sell the honey to cooperative. Cooperative go through unions, and unions mostly working for the processing part and sent to the domestic market and international export market also. So then the next one, the local collector and aggregators, they are directly sell to the collector and major buyers. Then the major buyers are locally retails to the honey, and they goes to the consumers. So this is the value chain in Ethiopia, and the Ethiopian honey industry can be separated into 4 main segments. The one is crude honey. The crude honey, it is unprocessed honey sold and often containing the beeswax, royal jelly, and everything, even including to the pollen, royal jelly, we call it the scrambled honey. They scratched all the honey, including the beeswax. Then they sold it on that type that is mostly using for the honey wine or honey beer. So the second one is using for the industrial purpose, low-grade processed honey that to be used for food processing and some ingredients. And the third honey is table honey that is mostly produced that one and selling for a local market, the supermarket and some local markets. And the fourth one is premium one, that is the table honey, and mostly using selling this honey for exporting purpose. And mostly that one also certified by organic certification and like that. So this is our honey. This is a map of this graph showing for our honey export in the country. Next. Yeah. This is the honey export in the country since 2000 to 2017. The export market is, goes 2013 and now coming down again for 2017. So this is the sorry. So this is discouraging of the export market because in our country the local price of the honey is higher than to the international market. Currently, the international market is around 3.4 or $5 per kg, but in the country the local market is around $10. So it is discouraging for the exporters. So the graph shows also goes down to next slide. This is the exporters that send the honey to different countries till 2017. Currently, our export market is reducing, not that much exporting. This is the destination of the markets. Mostly our honey goes to Germany, UK, France, Belgium, Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands. Currently, we are also export to Norway and Arab Emirates. This is to show for comparing the Ethiopian honey and Tanzanian honey, especially to EU market. So when we are looking here in the next slide, Klaus. Yeah, this is the free acid of the Ethiopian honey is not meant for the EU market because the EU market is 15 ml, but the Ethiopian is 14, and Tanzanian honey meet for the EU market because it is 15 ml. And the sugar content also is less, higher than to the EU market. So this also is not acceptable for the EU market in 10 gram. That one, the EU market is 5 gram. The Tanzanian honey is still meat for the EU market. So just to comparing the African honey to Ethiopian honey. Next slide. Yeah, as I mentioned before, the price of the international price is increasing 4.2%, not the international, the local honey price increasing approximately 4.2% in the year, but the international honey price increasing 2.2%. This is it's almost double of the market, higher than to the international market, our honey. So it is very difficult to encouraging the export market. Here is to show for our buyers how they are agreed for our private companies. So they are dealing the market like this. This is the history. So next slide.
Lussagat, can I ask you to hurry up a bit because we are a bit late? Thank you.
Yeah, almost finished.
Good.
What is ICIPE? ICIPE is an international organization. It's working based in Nairobi, and our mission to help alleviation poverty, ensure food security, and improve health status, and how to achieve to develop and extending management tools and strategies for harmful and useful insects, while presenting of the natural resources based on resource and capacity building. ICIPE has 4 pillars: plant health, environment and animal health, and human health. We have a MOYESH program, a big program in the country that is a target for 150,000 users and 60% of women beekeepers engaged. And we have a massive target. We set a massive target, produced to 30,619 tons of honey and almost 140 millions gain for direct economy benefits. How is achieved the project? The project creates jobs in beekeeping. Almost 150 unemployed users are working on this project, and all the beekeepers have received this entrepreneurship and beekeeping technology development training, established 25 market centers and more than 300 frame hive deployed, and 5 cooperative have received organic certifications. So our honey, we call it natural honey, but this one is certified by organically and produce more than 29,000 tons of honey and around $40 million to earn it. We are also working for stingless bee, Milipronary beccari, and we now starting to adopt this stingless bee as a backyard, as you check. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, as you see these pictures, this is the beccari species we brought from the bush, and we adopted on the box. Almost 700 stingless bee colonies adopted in these boxes. 105 kg of honey still harvested, and about 2,000 USD earned on this technology. What is our contribution to household asset and food security? Provide income direct from the sale of honey and beeswaxes. Many people make their living from the sale of edges, our local beverage. So, making by honey, and from the sale of beekeeping equipment, accessories also, they got it, and create jobs, more than 2 million create job opportunity for peoples and involved along the value chain, almost 2 million peoples. Honey is used for a nutritional and medicinal value. Household income from apiculture is estimated around 62 million per annum. Next slide. Thank you very much for listening. This is the donors for contributing for our project, and thank you again for listening.
Thank you, Lulseget. This was a very important to hear for all of us. And also about your work, working with beekeepers, connected tradition and modern beekeeping, which seems to be very important in also in economics of your country. So thank you again for coming. And our last presenter is today my dear colleague, Željka Petrović-Osmak from Ethnographic Museum in Zagreb. Željka curates a beautiful beekeeping collection at the museum, and she will share with us her film presenting a Croatian beekeeper. But through this film, we shall see an example of how beekeepers work with their bees in our part of the world.
Pčele na našoj planeti postoje nekoliko desetaka tisuća godina dulje nego li ljudi i žive u simbiozi s cvjetajućim biljkama. Povijest pčelarstva započinje u dalekoj prošlosti i postoje mnogobrojni dokazi koji govore da je pčelarstvo jedna od najstarijih grana poljoprivrede, mnogo starija od ratarstva i stočarstva. Loveći životinje i sakupljajući plodove raznih biljaka za svoju prehranu, čovjek je nailazio na šupljine u drveću ili stijenama ispunjene sačem i medom i tako otkrio postojanje pčela i vrlo ukusne hrane, meda. Čovjek u početku nije jeo samo med, već i sače s leglom, a kroz vijekove med je postao ne samo hrana, nego najveća poslastica i lijek. Dolazak do meda je u početku bio težak posao, jer pčele su uvijek branile svoje gnijezdo. Usporedno s otkrićem vatre olakšan je i pristup pčelinjem leglu. S vremenom su ljudi uočili kako prilikom praženja pčelinih gnijezda pčele ne napuštaju svoj dom, već počinju sa poslom iz početka. Stoga su počeli opreznije vaditi medeno sače i od pljačkaša pčelinjih gnijezda postali su pčelari. Sjeverno ili slavensko pčelarstvo predstavljalo je visoko razvijeni tip pčelarstva sa znatnom brigom za pčele, te je bio poticaj mnogim kasnijim unapređenjima u uzgoju pčela, opisanim u pčelarskim knjigama ranog 18. stoljeća. Među Slavenima su od svih životinja pčele uvijek imale posebno mjesto, stoga se za njih nikada nije govorilo da ugibaju, već da umiru, kao ljudi. Folklor o pčelama je iznimno bogat, a uz njih su se u prošlosti vezivala brojna vjerovanja, praznovjerja i magična djelovanja. Košnice su se obično držale u blizini kuća, a uz njih su se nerijetko stavljala sredstva protiv uroka, kao što je primjerice goveđa ili konjska lubanja, koja je služila kao apotropej. Pčele su u prošlosti imale svoje mjesto i u narodnim običajima, što se na prvom mjestu odnosi na božićni ciklus običaja, blagovijest i jurjevo.
Pa ja sam se sa pčelama počeo baviti sa 14 godina, znači to je bilo negdje 1995. Znači počeo sam uz oca, to jest pomagao sam njemu, a kako je on dosta pedantan i precizan u svom poslu, ja sam bio mlad i nervozan i onda mi je bilo puno vremena provoditi s njim i čekat dok on nešto obavi i ja sam se želio uključiti. Znači rekao sam ajde ti si otvorio košnicu, nešto radiš, ja ću sljedeću i recimo što treba raditi, tako da ubrzamo da brže završimo posao. I kroz na taj način se zapravo razvila i ljubav prema pčelama, jer sam počeo razmišljati o tom šta radim, svidjelo mi se, postalo je zanimljivo i tu sam krenuo samostalno se razvijati. Pa u Slavoniji smo pčelarili sa 40-ak košnica, to su bile nastavljače, malo drugačije od ovih sa kojima danas pčelarimo, bio je tip Dadan Blat košnica, a sa razvojem, sa rastom broja košnica i sa povećanom proizvodnjom meda smo prešli na LR tip koji je standard koji je prihvaćen u svijetu i zapravo svi alati i strojevi su prilagođeni tom standardu i zbog toga smo počeli koristiti te košnice, znači da bi se mogla raditi nekakva veća i ozbiljnija proizvodnja. Na Okić sam se preselio 2016. To jest 2016. smo počeli raditi pčelinjak na Okiću i 2018. u 12. mjesecu sam došao vam živjeti trajno. Okić je geografski smješten u sredini Hrvatske, znači pčelinjaci na kojima pčelarimo su po cijeloj Hrvatskoj, Slavonija, Lonjsko polje, Samobor i Cres i onda jednostavno je ispalo da je ovo nekako najbliže svemu, jer dok je baza bila u Slavoniji, veliki problem je bio voziti pčele u Knin, znači kad morate odvesti nekoliko tura kamionom, to je jako naporno i teško i puno vremena se potroši, tako da, evo, igrom slučaja je odabir pao na Okić. Znači, poznavajući život i biologiju pčele i iskustveno, postoje područje na kojima se nalaze paše koje su predvidive. Znači, šuma kestena će uvijek biti na svom mjestu, šuma bagrema će biti na svom mjestu, a nestalne paše kao recimo suncokret, uljana repica, ratarske kulture koje se samim plodoredom mijenjaju svoju lokaciju, to su kulture i paše koje ne možete pretpostaviti, znači na njih se morate seliti i premještati. Tako da za stacionarne pčelinjake smo birali lokacije na koje se godišnje nalaze, na koje godišnje možemo dobiti minimalno 2 ili 3 predvidljive pčelinje paše. Znači, tu možete staviti naglasak na proljetni razvoj, znači birate doline rijeka ili Lonjsko polje gdje je bogata peludna paša, znači odličan proljetni razvoj pčela. Birate bagremovu šumu, recimo na Bilogori u Kozarevcu. Na Cresu na jednom mjestu imamo pašu kadulje, pašu drače i još se zna dogoditi bilogorična medljika. Vamo u Samoboru imamo u blizini pčelinjaka bagremovu šumu, kestenovu šumu i zna se još dogoditi paša medvjeđeg luka u rano proljeće ili ako je jesen jako dobra, može biti i meda od bršljana. Pčelarska sezona najintenzivnija započinje od 1.4. i traje sve do 1.8., ali s obzirom na posebnosti Hrvatske i veliki broj biljnih vrsta i klimatskih područja, vi se zapravo pčelarstvom možete baviti teoretski cijelu godinu. Pa zapravo tu ne postoje 2 dana koji su jednaki. Znači, prvo kao i pčele i sami pčelari jako ovise o vremenu i vremenskoj prognozi. Znači, ako je vrijeme povoljno, pčele su na paši i sad ovisno koji je trenutak. Ako je paša u tijeku, znači tu je još i najmanje posla jer pčele je potrebno što manje uznemiravati. Ali čim se paša bliži kraju, znači vi počinjete razmišljati o vrcanju meda i počinjete tražiti sljedeću lokaciju ako pčelinjak nije stacionarni na koji ćete pčele prevesti. Pčele, mi ih prevozimo kombijem i kamionom, znači posjedujemo kontejnere u kojima su smještene košnice, podlačimo se ispod kamionom, prevozimo na lokaciju, stavljamo kontejner na noge i odlazimo po sljedeći. Pčele su kao i ljudi dosta meteoropati. Znači, ovisno o vanjskim uvjetima, tako se pripremate i dolasku na košnicu. U pravilu se vi uvijek trebate zaštititi, obući pčelarsko odijelo, rukavice, zapaliti dimilicu, ali u slučajevima kad je vani lijepo vrijeme, kad pčele imaju izvor hrane u prirodi i kad rade, znači vi njima možete pristupiti bez naglih pokreta, možete pristupiti i bez zaštitne odjeće. Dimilic koristi za smirivanje pčela, to jest za skretanje njihove pozornosti sa vas kao pčelara koji dolazi i otvara njihov dom, narušava njihovu intimu, pokušava im uzeti med. Znači, dimilica simulira požar, što potiče drugi instinkt kod pčela, znači one su u panici da je u blizini požar. Ubrzano počinju uzimati med, pripremati se za napuštanje košnice, tako da ne posvećuju toliko pažnje obrani košnice od čovjeka. Znači, imate rezidue koje utječu na pčela. U ekološkom pčelarstvu koristimo biološke metode liječenja pčela, blokada matice, organske kiseline. Postoje pravilnici gdje košnice moraju biti smještene, to jest koliko moraju biti udaljene od cesta prometnih, od tvornica, od različitih industrijskih postrojenja, i jednostavno postoje posebno pravila i kako se te pčele smiju prihranjivati. Znači, ekološko pčelarenje je dosta kompliciranije u odnosu na konvencionalno. Pčele i uloga pčela u svijetu je prije svega oprašivanje. Znači, to je glavna i osnovna uloga pčela, a sve ovo zbog čega pčelare, znači med, propolis, matična mliječ, vosak su nus proizvodi rada pčela. Ali ono osnovno i s čime pčele zadužuju svijet je oprašivanje. Znači, 80% svjetske proizvodnje hrane ovisi o oprašivanju pčelama. Ovaj manji dio se oprašuje vjetrom i nekakvim drugim kukcima, ali uglavnom nestankom pčela pojavili bi se veliki problemi sa oprašivanjem i znači ne bi mogli proizvoditi dovoljne količine hrane za ovoliku svjetsku populaciju.
Yes, so I believe this was very informative, maybe an everyday life for many of you, but for those who are not beekeeping, it was very interesting to see how beekeepers in Croatia, which is our neighboring country, and we have quite similar type of beekeeping. Yeah, are there any questions? Thank you, Željka, for sending us the film. And now, if there are some questions, we have speakers are still with us, so go ahead.
Dinesh, there's a question. Just unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, it's an excellent session. Thanks for a guy, who I don't even know who that is actually. He sent it to me on a group and it's very useful, and thank you for all the presenters. And can I ask the question straight away? That is, do we have a centralized or a unified certifying agency for kind of certifying a particular agriculture product like pesticide or fungicide, whatever they may spray, certifying it as a bee friendly or kind of something like that? Do we have something like that? And I have another follow-up question. That is, I live in India, South India, Tamil Nadu, where I do biodynamic farming. And I came across this place in Kodaikanal where there used to be like 200,000 of beehives in a year in particular area. And since like 6-7 years ago, there isn't even one because of intensive farming that happens around that place. And people around there mostly point the agriculture practice they follow in that area.
So if there are a beekeeper with us, otherwise, I can just say that in Europe, this is very strict. And this last beekeeper mentioned that, for example, chemicals like neonicotinoids are forbidden. For example, in my country, in Slovenia, yeah, and it can't be bought anymore. So yeah, there is another beekeeper, I suppose, who can say a word or two about that. In Europe, this is quite a strong sector. Beekeeping is really gaining on the importance, as we are very much aware of the importance of pollinators for our survival. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. And maybe we should actually start certifying the products that come out of the farm, like just like USDA or organic, and it has to be like bee friendly farmed, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Thank you. And do we have the session recorded? Just for the reference.
Sure.
Can we get the link? Okay.
We do.
Okay. And where do I find it?
I just published it in the chat. It will be on the AIMA website as well as on AIMA social media, YouTube and Instagram.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and Dinesh, it's good that you brought up Kodaikanal. and maybe we can, I can contact you and we can know a little bit more about what you were saying about the disappearance of bees. Do you know which species of bees? Is it the rock bee?
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I know the place name, and I have been there more than a few times, and I do some farming in and around that area. So, but I do not know the species name. Sorry.
Maybe I believe there are questions in your heads, but we are really, it's really getting, we have to wrap up. So, dear speakers, dear participants, thank you for joining us to honor the cultural history of bees and the diverse traditions and modern practices of beeing around the world. I believe it was very interesting. For me, it was. So we promise to keep caring for the delicate ecosystems that bees and people need for survival, and environment that is good for bees is good for people and other living things as well. So let me wrap up with a slogan: no bees, no life. So thank you for coming, and see you maybe next year.
Thank you all for coming again, also in the name of AIMA. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep, Jan.